Alright guys, so welcome back to the Bulk Ops Bootcamp. This third video we're going to be covering how to get a bit more in the weeds on setting up your bid rules. Specifically, I'm going to be going over my favorite way to kind of get organized and structure things. And that's using a feature called the portfolio overrides. You can do a similar thing that we're going to be going over with a list of campaigns, list of targets. We're going to be using portfolios, but kind of the same concept applies. So I'll probably mention as we go through this some different use cases for these, but for the most part, we're going to be going over this main portfolio method. And if you ever do need help with this, shameless plug, we have a scale assisted plan. You can click on this link and kind of read over that, but basically it gets you access to our team and myself as far as our priority support, helping you come up with your rules and just kind of quickly learning the ins and outs, best practices of ad tactics. But hopefully, if you don't need that, you can just follow this video and be all you need. So anyway, that's what we're going over in this training. Let me get out of that. And to set this up, what you can do is you can use this kind of cookie cutter template for copying and getting started. So what you need to do is you need to first, to implement this specific method, you need to have portfolios set up. So you need to go into Campaign Manager, go into the Portfolios tab and create a series of portfolios. And depending on what your strategy is, what your account looks like, you can structure your portfolios in different ways. Typically, my favorite is if you don't have, thousands of products, let's say, and you just have 10, 20, 30, something like that, you likely have products that either kind of fit into different product groups or the economics of the products are kind of able to be grouped. Maybe you only have a few products. In that case, you just have one portfolio per product. So it kind of just depends, but you need to think through structurally what makes the most sense for your brand. I'm going to, for the sake of this example, say we have two products with two different margins, and I want to kind of organize things so I can structure bid rules for product A and product B differently. So what I'm going to do is first, actually you can see the templates are kind of the same, so I'm not really going to use this, but this is here for use if needed and you need to kind of copy and paste things. I'm just going to use this section that's already here and kind of show you how to doctor it up as I go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to insert some more rows. So I just click once there, click on the plus button, and then it's going to ask me, do I want to insert more? I'm going to say yes. I'm just going to insert 10 for the sake of this. All right, and now I'm going to copy this section, and we'll just put that here. Now you can see right away we've got some conditional formatting that showed up in red. That means that we've duplicated our rule numbers. You want to always make sure if you create new rules or copy and paste things, they have a unique rule number. And then the other thing to understand with Autopilot specifically is the rules have a hierarchy. So the ones, rule number 1 that's at the top of the sheet here is going to run first. And all the targets that are satisfied by that criteria will get adjusted. And then rule 2. So it'll kind of flow downwards. And that's unless you apply overrides, which we're going to be doing in this video. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit and just kind of remove some of this stuff and add some headers here. All right, so I'm going to call this portfolio 1, and that's his product, whatever we said, product A. All right, and let me delete that. I like to put the margin too. This is just kind of my way I like to do things. So let's say it's a 35% margin. And then this one is portfolio 2 and product B, and let's say it's got like a 10% margin. So that would be a use case for why you'd want to structure your bid rules differently and then run a set of rules on a 35% margin product versus 10%. So once you have the portfolios created in Campaign Manager, when you download your bulk file the next time and import it, you can go to the portfolio sheet and you'll see the portfolio names that you've assigned here. I'm going to use these two as examples of the two that we have here. So we'll say this is our product A, and then this was our product B. You'll see the actual names on yours that you plugged in though. All right, so what we actually want for this, what we want for this is the actual names. So in my demo file here, it's actually named this. So that's what I'm going to use. All right, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to set these up for portfolio overrides now. So I'm just going to literally paste in that name and I'm going to pull that down, make sure it stays, if it's got a number, it doesn't like increment. So it's exactly like that. So basically now these rules are just associated with targets that fall into this portfolio. And you do have a portfolio column here. So you got to be a little careful. You may have not assigned all of the campaigns in your catalog to portfolios. That would be kind of step one you'd probably want to do if you want to use this strategy. But I am going to just run through this example with what I got. It's not 100% complete. And actually what I can do is I can do this just so it will work out. Let's see. So what did I just do there? Copy, paste, 21, 22. All right, and I'm going to call this everything else. So we'll just do everything else. Yeah, and this will be a good example. You do want any overrides that you set up to be above any of the less restrictive rules. So anything you want to kind of take precedence, have those be above, higher on the sheet. All right. And then this one is going to be, what did we say? 56. Okay. All right. So now we can change our thresholds and our parameters just for, these portfolios. So if this is a 10% margin break-even product, you won't want to have targets that you're targeting 50% ACoS, for example. So you may only want to go up to whatever 20% and lose a little money on this one here that is greater than 1% click-through rate, greater or equal to 2 orders, greater than 15% conversion rate. So that's a pretty solid performing target. We might want to bid more aggressively and be okay with losing a little bit if our margin's 10%. So from there, I'm going to kind of step my way down and I'll set these to 10% just for the sake of this example. All right, we're going to have another video that's going to go into each one of these rules and give you some more info on kind of how to set them up. This is more just a high level portfolio override structured autopilot. And this is a good way for new accounts to get acclimated and kind of organize their dashboard here to achieve different strategies. Like you could have portfolios set up for ranking, for branded targets, a lot of different use cases and kind of examples you could devise. But anyway, this is kind of the idea here. And, these were just values that we pasted over. So these would all be, these are all going to get redone or whatever when we run it here. But so what this is going to do, it's going to run rules 1 through 10 on portfolio A, 11 through 20 on portfolio B, and then everything else that doesn't fit into a portfolio, it's going to run these rules here. So, and then we're going to get an output of the results, and then we'll be able to go back and forth like we went over on the previous video to verify that the rules are in fact doing what we want. The only thing I'm not going to cover here that I typically do on my brands that I oversee is some advanced placement algorithms. This is a bit of a newer feature that we've been pilot testing now for a few months. So we'll have a follow-up video on the tail end of this Bulk Ops Bootcamp that you can learn about these, but those are a bit more advanced and out of the scope of this video. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to run this. So after that runs and you get the confirmation prompt, you'll see now all of the targets that fit into that portfolio that were adjusted. And those will be segregated from the targets that are in this portfolio that were adjusted. So hopefully that gives you a pretty basic example of kind of how you could structure this using portfolio overrides to segment out different layers of your account outside of kind of everything else. So to complicate things a little bit further, what you could also do is insert some rows, and within a kind of portfolio segment here, we could above it, above this portfolio line, add some campaigns to further segment within that portfolio. So let me do an example there real quick. So I'm just going to add, so I just added a row there, and this is going to be a campaign override, and you can use any of these actions, but let's just say we want to set all the bids within this one campaign, and you can actually segment out by match types in the different ad types as well, but this checkbox just means all ad types. So now I'm going to do a campaign level override, and if I go and find a campaign, I'm not going to actually do it, but let me just show you. So say within this entire portfolio there were 10 campaigns, and for campaign 1 and campaign 2 I wanted to set all their bids to whatever 25 cents. That right there would do it. You do want to make sure you have the rule numbers, so one thing you can do to kind of speed it up is just do it like that. All right, so what this would do is, because we have our campaign override above the portfolios, that's going to get satisfied first. And you can see I added in 2 campaign names within the same cell. So you can do that as well for portfolios. You could have multiple portfolios that you group together. You just hit Control Enter on PC. I think it's Command Enter on Mac to advance down to another line, but that's kind of how you can do that. There's also some miscellaneous examples down here that kind of go over the most common rule sets, so you can kind of check that out to give you ideas. But anyway, that's how you can kind of use campaign overrides in addition to portfolio overrides to do different things. Similarly, you could also layer in target overrides, which that's going to actually allow you to set up rules and do different things just for a series of targets. You just want to make sure you have the hierarchy correct, and you have, for example, target overrides above any campaign overrides, above any portfolio overrides, because they kind of flow down. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. And this video gives you a bit more insight and details on structuring your own autopilot bid strategy. I will see you guys on the next one. Cheers.